you. Bob and I have been playing together for a long time. We've known each other since college. We play in different bands. Sometimes I fill in with his band, but we both love the music. We've been playing it for a long time. The first song we're gonna do is Soldier's Joy.
Yes, and it first appeared in Robert Burns' Three Beggars or something like that, something he wrote in like the 1820s, I think. I don't know, I think no manuscript had any music in it, so, but that's, banjos are, they say award-winning. That was not a Nobel Prize in banjo playing. These instruments are not worth too much of any kind of recognition, except they are noisy. So. Soldier's Joy is sort of a square dance favorite.
The next tune we're going to play is a song called St. Anne's Reel, which is sort of an Irish tune. It was supposedly written in Canada But a lot of the Irish tunes were, the Irish folks would come over here and they would, you know, write some songs, then they wind up going back to Ireland. So, a song from Canada, this is St. Anne's Reel. Good about that?
A little word on the style of clawhammer bench. That's what I was playing before. It's the instrument originated in Africa in a much different form. An unfortunate, I don't know, maybe.
Bob, pull that mic a little closer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pull it a little closer. Just a little closer.
Okay. They were made from gourds that were covered with an animal hide of some sort. Pole out here to have two long strings and one short string. And it came through the Middle Passage to this side of the world, and mainly in the Caribbean, and made its way up into the South. And from there, it became a major instrument in a lot of the unfortunate minstrel shows, which are not very tasteful today, or at all. And the instrument finally made its way into parlors, as people, probably the middle class and the upper middle class, didn't have to farm anymore, as they had time to learn to play an instrument. And a guitar was one of them, mandolin another, and this unfortunately too. But anyway. The clawhammer style is also called, stroke style, because you're striking the strings with your, this way, you're not pulling on them, you're striking the strings. So that's what it means. The only digit that really plucks a string is your thumb, and it goes down and over, and that's what gives it that rhythm. This tune we're playing will not be in that style. Okay. Ready?
We're doing C.
In C, yeah. This was recorded probably in about 1926 by a gentleman. Well, maybe he wasn't a gentleman, but he was a fellow from South Carolina who was a banjoist, and he was quite an entertainer, and also was rather a pretty good souse too. He would drink a lot, but his band, although they had a fiddle, a guitar, and a banjo, they were sort of stealing things off Tin Pan Alley in New York. And this is a version of the ever popular song. It's called, we call it here, Leaving Home. It's another version of Frankie and Johnny, which is very well known.
Well, Frankie and Johnny were sweethearts. They had a quarrel one day. Johnny vowed he'd leave her. Said he was going away from home, going away to Rome. Now Frankie, she begged and she pleaded, my old Johnny, please stay. Oh, honey, I've done you wrong. Now please don't go away. That's Johnny sighed, and Frankie cried. Well, I'm going away. I'm going to stay, never coming home. You're gonna miss me, honey, in the days to come. When the winter will begin, the mother ground's covered up. But when you think of the way you're gonna wish me back, your loving man. You're gonna miss me, honey, in the day they say is to come. Well, Frankie then said to her, Johnny, now man, your hour has come. Cause underneath that silk kimono she drew a 44 gun. These love affairs are hard to bear. Well, Johnny fled down the stairway. My love, Frankie, don't shoot. Frankie done drew that 44 and the gun went root-a-toot-toot as Johnny fell. And Frankie yelled, well, I'm going away, I'm going to stay and never coming home. You're gonna miss me, honey, in the days to come. But when the winter will begin, the ground's covered up. But when you think of the way you're gonna wish me back, you're a loving man. You're gonna miss me, honey, in the day they say is to come. Well, send for your rubber-tied hearses, send for your rubber-tied hacks. Carry old Johnny to the graveyard. I've shot him in the back with a great big gun. As he went to run, we'll send for some policemen to take me right away. Lock me down in the dungeon cell and throw the key away. My Johnny's dead because he said, well, I'm going away, I'm going to stay and never coming home. You're gonna miss me, honey, in the days to come. When the winter will begin, the ground's covered up. And when you think of the way you're gonna wish me back, you're a loving man. You're gonna miss me, honey, in the day they say is to come.
You'll notice when we're playing, one person or another kicks their foot up. That's the signal that at the end of that verse you're gonna stop. Bluegrass music that I play in my band, there's introductions and then there's tags at the end. Old time music there isn't. Just somebody starts playing and then somebody stops. Somebody kicks up their foot and then, so you all stop at the same time. My wife, who is not necessarily an aficionado of such music, used to claim that old time bands, they just play till somebody died.
The gentleman who recorded that was Charlie Poole. He worked as a young man in a cotton mill in north central North Carolina, and he was influenced by a classical banjo player I was playing like fingers like. It's not Scruggs style, but it was. His hero was Fred Van Epps. Fred Van Epps did a lot of recording after Wes Osman. He was a Wes Osman fan who was also a classic banjo player. Well, Fred Van Epps was from Plainfield, New Jersey. So not all this banjo playing comes from the South. And I think he got very much influenced by what he heard on probably Edison cylinders that were recorded this kind of music. Class. What are we up to? Anyway, so much for that.
Dallas Rag.
What's that?
Dallas Rag.
Dallas Rag. Uh-oh.
I have to play this foreign instrument here. Thank you.
Oh, these
So
instruments.
you got a big guitar today.
Oh yeah, this is a 1934 Martin, so I'm kind of old, so like me.
Older than us even.
Yeah, just a bit older.
The ragtime music really started, I guess, in the 1890s. After the Civil War, when the African Americans were able to afford things they couldn't during slavery, and one of the instruments they could get was pianos. And some of these folks really were very excellent musicians. And the actual ragtime was moving bass lines. It was a rather sophisticated music. And a lot of the songs, I guess they call them country rags, or sometimes they just call them novelty songs. And like that Dallas Rag, not really ragtime. But, ragtime was popular, so they used that name a lot. What you got next, Robert? Little Maggie.
Little Maggie, I think. Is
Yeah.
it?
Wait a minute, where'd hold it? Put it big.
The reason I have more than one instrument, this is strung with nylon strings. All these instruments were originally strung with gut strings. Not catgut. It was most of the animals that were slaughtered for beef, things like that. And also, for sake of a lot of in old-time music that I play, you're always changing tunings on the instrument, so it drives you kind of crazy. That's why we do it, because I'm crazy anyway, so no great loss. This is a mountain ballad, so to speak. And I need a prompter, so Little Maggie it's called. It's
He's just showing off because he can read and play at the same time.
yeah, right. Not too well. And it's in a banjo. It's called. It's a strange tuning, and a lot of these things in a strange tuning are pentatonic scale. Does anyone know pentatonic scale. It's a scale that has the regular scale, but there are two components, two notes missing from it. I don't know, I think it's the fourth and, I don't know, I can't
Sixth.
remember. I have that little booklet that teaches me about music. I'm an ear player, and everybody says, "Oh, you're such a good musician." I said, "Don't confuse a musician with somebody who picks a banjo picker. That's not necessarily things." But anyway, Little Maggie.
Oh, yonder stand little Maggie with a dry glass in her hand. She's passing by her troubles and courting some other man. Oh, how could I ever stand it just to see them two blue eyes? They sparkling just like some diamonds, like diamonds in the sky. Pretty flowers were made for blooming, pretty stars were made to shine, pretty women were made for loving, little Maggie was made for mine. Well, sometimes I have a nickel, and sometimes I have a dime, sometimes I have $10 just to pay little Maggie's fine. Go away, little Maggie. Go and do the best you can. Now get me another woman. You can hunt you another man. Now march me down to the depot with a suitcase in my hand. I'm going away for to leave you. I'm going to some far distant land. I'd rather be in some dark holler where the sun could never shine than to know you another man's darling and no longer a darling of mine. Last time I seen little Maggie, she was sitting on the banks of the sea with a pistol wrapped around her body and a banjo on her knee.
These lyrics are very interesting. The last verse, it says, "He's sitting on the banks of the sea." Well, probably the people who sang this song never saw the ocean in their lives, so they didn't know it was a beach there. They said, well, it's the banks of a river, right? Okay, very good.
Sunflower Dance.
Oh, God.
This is one of my favorite banjo tunes.
It's a beginner's piece, I shouldn't tell you that, for people who play classic five-string banjo. There's a group called the American Banjo Fraternity. They were started in 1948 by all the guys who were playing five-string banjo, not tenor banjo. It's different. And in the early 1900s, and they were dying off like flies, and so they started. We have to keep this going, and a small group of people did. It's sort of interesting.
This is the Sunflower Dance, which is actually written in 1884, and it was called the With the Tide Schottische. So this isn't Appalachian music so much, although that style of playing, figures like that did reach the Appalachians finally. It's a very cute song, although it's a schottische. It's so much in contrast with most of the music I play. And I said, well, I'll put on your tutus now and dance. You know? It's sort of sweet that way. But it was from the 1880s. The funny thing is the sheet music I saw, this is tuned to C, right? Well, back in the 1880s, the American players, when they put this chord on, it was A. So everything was written in the key of A for them. And when they published this piece, people were starting to play the song in C. So you got, the banjo player got A notation because that's what he was raised up with. And then you got the piano accompaniment, and it said, it's written in the key of C, and people saying, what? Is a banjo player tuned to C, so they had to raise the tune. But anyway, it's a silly thing, but these are fairly silly and complicated instruments. They're great. Hey, what are we doing next?
We're doing next,
Oh my,
Under the Sugar Moon.
under the sugar moon.
I'll see if I can do this or not.
This style of guitar playing that I'm going to be playing on this is, I think they call it Piedmont style now. And I think that probably where this came from was because late 1900s, early, well actually late 1800s, early 1900s, ragtime became popular. And I think they started playing the guitar with their thumb going like that to kind of, like the ragtime.
With your left hand.
With the ragtime, basically like the left hand of the piano. So I think I play like this a lot. It's a great style because you're holding down the chord, you're playing the bass notes, so you got the rhythm. By holding down the chord, you have the chord background, and you got these two fingers left to play the melody. But I think it came from, where they came from was they were trying to approximate the ragtime
Right.
thing.
That tune you just started was written by a lady from North Carolina, Elizabeth Cotton, who's very well known.
Okay, we're doing this
in the
one.
book, great music. What? Yeah, what we're gonna do this
With
one?
this in D or C?
What are we talking about? Under the Sugar Moon? Yeah. Well, it's sort of a round of sevens. I don't know. It's not really in D. It's starting. Yeah, it goes. It's a round of sevens. So
It's that time.
Yeah.
Let me get
This was, song was written by a man named Jimmie Rodgers, and I think he was first recorded in the 1920s. I think this is probably where Hank Williams got his style from. He was one of the first recorded people, I guess, what we would call country music today. And Dean,
I don't know.
Cabo.
Excuse me now.
Let me dive into the Chamber of Horrors here.
Using the capo because this is the only place where I can sing it. By singing such as, I always tell everybody that I never started singing until I heard what Mark Twain said about singing. He said, everybody should sing. If the Lord gave you a good voice, you should share it. If he didn't, it's a darn good way to get even. When it's peach picking time in Georgia, apple picking time in Tennessee, cotton picking time in Mississippi, everybody picks on me. When it's roundup time in Texas, and the cowboys make whoopee, down in old Alabama, it's gal picking time for me. Yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. They got bluegrass down in Kentucky, Virginia they dance and sway. Carolina, I'm coming to see you in the spring. Arkansas, hear you calling, you know I'm going to see you soon. That's where we'll do a little picking underneath that Ozark moon. Yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. Now if hard times overtake you, I hope they don't get me. I've got a sweetheart waiting for me in Tennessee. I'm going there to see her, you know it won't be long. There we'll find a little cabin we can call our mountain home. Yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. When the field hands pick the cotton, I'll pick the wedding ring. We'll go to town, pick out a gown for a wedding in the spring. Hope that preacher knows his business, you know you can't fool me. When it's peach picking time in Georgia, gown picking time for me. Yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. I'm gonna put up my voice, two of them in a row. This is a song that I first heard being sung by a gentleman named Doc Watson. Doc Watson was from a town called Deep Gap, North Carolina, and they had just a lot of good music down there. And his father was Gaither Carlin. He was my father-in-law.
Yeah.
Was a great fiddle player. And usually I don't look for any message in songs. I'm more tuned to the music than the words. But this is a song called the Greenville Trestle. It's about how when you're real little, and a lot of things seem, everything seems new and wonderful. And as you get physically bigger, and things just don't seem the same anymore. I remember as a boy how in wonderment and joy watch the trains as they go rolling by. That whistle's lonesome sound you could hear for miles around as they rolled across that Greenville Trestle high. Now the whistles don't sound like they used to. Lately not many trains go by. Hard times across this land mean no work for railroad men. The Greenville Trestle now don't seem so high. On the riverbank I'd stand with a cane pole in my hand, watch those freight trains up against the sky, with her black smoke trailing back as she rolls along the track that runs across that Greenville Trestle high. Now the whistles don't sound like they used to. Lately not many trains go by. Hard times across this land mean no work for railroad men. The Greenville Trestle now don't seem so high. When that lonesome whistle whined, I'd get rambling on my mind. Wish they still sounded that way. I turned to head for home, Lord, she rumbled low and long toward the sunset at the close of day. Now the whistles don't sound like they used to. Lately not many trains go by. Hard times across this land mean no work for railroad men. Greenville Trestle now don't seem so high. Thank you. Ashokan Farewell.
I'm choking. You know what I call this?
Yeah.
I'm choking. What's up front?
This song was written in New York State by a gentleman, very good fiddle player and mandolin player, a fellow named Jay Unger. And I think he probably took parts of a lot of old songs and put them together. But this is, Burns used this on, as the music for the special they did on the Civil War. The song's called Ashokan Farewell. And most fiddle players also play mandolin because they're tuned the same. This is not tuned like a guitar, it's tuned like a fiddle. Mandolin players don't necessarily play the fiddle because the fiddle don't have frets on it. And you know, something like F sharp and a half just doesn't make it. So for those of us who are challenged a little bit, you know, we play the mandolin. Sometimes in the country they call us a plucked fiddle.
have to apologize for that. I don't read music well, and I skip lines, and it's kind of confusing. It all looks the same to me. It's just something insects left behind. I don't know. What are you up to?
Old Bachelors?
Oh, yes, okay. I guess I could have this for, it's called Old Bachelors. That's what them old bachelors made out of. That's what them old bachelors made out of. Guns and stores and old cows. That's what them old bachelors made out of. That's what them old maids made out of. That's what them old maids made out of. Powder and paint, they can kiss them, they can. That's what them old maids made out of. That's what them pretty girls made out of. That's what them pretty girls made out of. Sugar and spice and everything nice. That's what them girls made out of. That's what them young dudes made out of. That's what them young dudes made out of. Doodads and chains and mighty little brains. That's what them young dudes made out of. That's what them young doctors made out of. That's what them young doctors made out of. Powder and pills and big doctor bills. That's what them old pals made of. That's what them old bachelors made out of. That's what them old bachelors made out of. Lots of veins and mighty little brains too. That's what them old bachelors made out of. I usually play out in the banjo. I don't know what the hell we're doing with this guitar, but that's all right. Okay.
Whistling Rufus.
Whistling Roof, oh, boy. Gotta work hard here now.
This is an 1899 tune called Whistling Rufus.
trouble finding things on I have sort of double vision, so sometimes when you get up here, they all look the same. It's like the notes. What do we got?
Rock About My Sarah Jane.
I need some, where are the R's? Come after Q.
Considering what the weather's been, these things, or instruments are staying surprisingly well in tune.
Yeah.
Usually,
It's hard to hear you. Can you use the microphone?
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so, usually, when the weather in the winter, the weather is like really dry or any change in weather, nothing stays in tune, but, haven't had too much, that's the worst, the banjo, but.
Yeah, this instrument does have a calf skin head. I always call it the integument of an unfortunate calf. That sounds very fancy, but it's what it is. And these are subject to changes in humidity and temperature. I can't imagine playing with this, with the calf skin head and gut strings. I mean, everything would be going crazy all the time. Oh, this is Rock About My Sarah Jane. Kingston Trio did a fairly good version of this. It was actually originated from a recording by Uncle Dave Macon, who was one of the first Grand Ole Opry stars. And he didn't start playing on radio until he was in his 50s, but he was raised by his parents in a hotel near Nashville, and he saw a lot of people who played banjo back in the last quarter of the 1800s. And then he went on to have a business where he had mule driven. He would take groceries and whatever he could deliver with a mule, and then he lived long enough and to see automobiles come out, and he hated them. But anyway, it took away from his thing. This is Rock About My Sarah Jane without the, I hope without the key change that the Kingston Trio had obliged to. Oh, there's nothing to do but to sit around and sing and rock
Sawyer.
That sounds something a little cranking here to do, but I think I can do it. This is- Let's see if, do I agree? Mississippi Sawyers, we don't know what a Mississippi Sawyer is. Maybe it's somebody in Mississippi who cuts wood, I don't know. Some people say it's a log in the Mississippi, you know, floats around and can puncture the side of a steamboat or something like that.
Welcome in the Morning Blues.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah.
We have a few extras to do.
Jordan is a hard road to
Yeah,
travel.
why not that? Jordan is a hard road travel. I have to go back to the other. It's a monster, this thing. This was made in 1906, shortly after I left, so. This is called, Jordan is a Hard Road to Travel. It's an old song. It's always been, it comes from minstrel shows, and then it got to Uncle Dave Macon. And it's hard to know what the original lyrics were because there were always commentaries on the events of the day. So this time, this was about Uncle Dave. He had a number of tunes where he complained about the way the home state of Tennessee was going. And this is just one of them, sort of. I'm gonna sing you a brand new song, a song that proves for certain you can live high and still get by. Get on the other side, Jordan. So we're all belongs to you, Jordan.
fire alarm.
It was violent. I always thought it was that thing that happens on the TV, you know, like. Okay.
Well, it stopped. Shall we try again?
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with the second verse. I already got paid for the first note. I don't know if I can start with.
Start from the beginning. That'll work.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna do, no, it's the public schools and the highways.
Okay.
Schools and the highways are causing quite an alarm. You get a country man educated just a little and he ain't gonna work on the farm. So put on the overcoat, stitch, and hard road travel. Put on the overcoat, stitch, and his hard road travel. I know a man who's a banjo list, his tabernacle's always full. People come from miles around just to hear him shoot the bull. So along the road, steam journeys of hard road to travel. Along the road, steam journeys of hard road to travel again. Talk about your evangelist, you can talk about Mr. Ford too, but Henry's scaring more hell out of folks than all the evangelists do. Along the old road, steam journeys, hard road to travel. Along the old road, steam journeys, hard road to travel, I believe. I've been to the east, I've been to the west, I've been in old Virginia. I've walked 10 miles from the Hornet's Nest and never got stung by any. So along the old road, steam journeys, hard road to travel. Along the old road, steam journeys, hard road to travel, I believe. Gonna rain 40 days, gonna rain 40 nights, gonna rain in the Allegheny Mountains. Gonna rain for the horse and the dump and the mule way down on the other side of Jordan. So along the old road, steam journeys, hard road to travel. Along the old road, steam journeys, hard road to travel, I believe. On the building, a log cabin on the mountain. So high, so rocking, I Lily, as he passes on by. I play golf in England, and I play cards in Spain. I bet you $5 that I beat you this game. Jack Diamond, Jack Diamond, how I know you from home. You rock on your pocket with this hill in their road. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty girl, and she wobbles as she flies. She never hollers cuckoo till the 5th day of July. Oh, the cuckoo, she's a pretty girl, and I wish she were mine. She'd never drink water, she'd always drink wine. I have wondered what makes women love me. And I sat down and I studied what makes men
What's that, Union Rules?
I don't know, you wanna play another one? What you got?
Oh, what do you got? I've been, I don't know.
You back up, East Tennessee Blues?
Sure, I'll back that up. I'll back it up. I have to relax a bit. 2 in a row. Okay. Get all reliable out of here.
This is an old tune. It's called East Tennessee Blues. It's not really a blues, but this is one that we do in the band.
That's what you call
I'll do Little Annie.
Sure, yeah.
This is a song that was made popular, I guess it was first recorded by the Carter family, and what they call the Bristol sessions. Bristol is a town that's, the state line runs right down the middle. One half of the town is Virginia, the other half is Tennessee. And when they first came up with the idea of actual microphones, rather than having people, sing into these huge cones, and the first time they really recorded what we now call country music was in Bristol in the late 1920s. And one of the bands that they recorded was the Carter family. And this is a tune they did. A.
A? Oh. A. That's the Canadian key, eh? Toronto. Okay.
Once more I must leave you, little Annie. We must part at the end of the lane, where you promised me, little Annie, you'd be waiting when the springtime comes again. When the springtime comes to the mountain and the wildflowers scatter o'er the plains, I'll watch for the leaves return to the trees. I'll be waiting when springtime comes again. shines down on the mountain, and the wild sheep wander all alone. When the birds and the bees are singing, then I'll know springtime's coming, won't be long. When springtime comes to the mountain, and wildflowers scatter all the place, I'll watch for the leaves return to the trees. I'll be waiting when springtime comes again. Now springtime has come to the mountain, and I'm on my way back to the lake, where you promised me, little Annie, you'd be waiting when the springtime comes again. When springtime comes to the mountain, and the wildflowers scatter all the place, I'll watch for the leaves return to the trees. I'll be waiting when springtime comes again.
Steamship, I'd sail the ocean. While sailing round the ocean, while sailing round the sea, I think of handsome Molly wherever she may be. I went to church on Sunday, she passed me on by. I saw her mind was roving by the rolling ride. Hair black as raven, and eyes black as coal. Her cheek was like lilies out in the morning road. Don't you remember, Molly, when you gave me your right hand? You said if ever you'd marry, that I'd be the man. Now you broke your promise, go home, do me please. Why, my poor heart is